Front and Center. A focus on important and significant developments affecting the lives of Filipinos, not only in the Philippines, but also those living and working around the world. Join us in Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Welcome to Front and Center, where we focus on developments in the Philippines, legislation that provides policies and directions that strives to promote a better economy for the country. Issues that concern the welfare and well-being of every Filipino. All of these and more will be Front and Center. You can watch this program on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, Radyo Pilipinas World Service. This program, Front and Center, can also be heard on the following shortwave frequencies: 12.010 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.820 MHz. Join us for another edition of Front and Center with your host, Jerome Toledo. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and First Lady Luis Araneta Marcos on August 15th welcomed Singapore President Tharman Shanmugaratnam and his spouse Mrs. Jane Itogi Shanmugaratnam at Malacanang Palace as they embark on a 3-day state visit to the Philippines. President Shanmugaratnam and his wife were accorded with arrival honors. President Marcos introduced President Shanmugaratnam to Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo, Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, and Health Secretary Ted Herbosa. He also introduced Environment Secretary Maria Antonia Yulo Loizaga, Migrant Worker Secretary Hans Leo Kakdak, and Communications Secretary Cheloy Velicaria Garafil. Philippine Ambassador to Singapore Medardo Antonio G. Macaraig was also present during the event. President Shanmugaratnam also introduced President Marcos to the Singaporean delegation. The two chief executives proceeded to the reception hall for the customary signing of the palace guest book and were ushered for a private discussion followed by a bilateral meeting. The Singapore president will conclude his first state visit to the Philippines on August 17th, 2024. And President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and Singapore President Shanmugaratnam reaffirmed their commitment to maintain and promote regional peace, security, and stability as they cited the importance of the South China Sea to both countries. Aside from bilateral issues, Marcos and Shanmugaratnam discussed regional issues of mutual interest. As geographical neighbors in Southeast Asia, the South China Sea or the West Philippine Sea holds great importance to both countries. The two ASEAN leaders look forward to the opportunity to reaffirm the commitment to maintain and to promote peace, security, and stability in the region, as well as the strong support to the peaceful resolution of any such disputes. As fellow founding member states of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, the Philippines and Singapore discussed and shared their concerns on the developments in Myanmar, raising the urgency of having a peaceful solution to the domestic crisis as prescribed under ASEAN's 5-point consensus. Marcos also thanked the Singaporean president and his wife for taking the time to visit the Philippines. And last year, the country's total trade with Singapore was at $10 billion with $3.53 billion in exports and $7.09 billion in imports. In the same year, Singapore ranked as the country's 8th largest trading partner, 6th export market, and 7th import supplier. Also in 2023, approved investments from Singapore reached $674.4 million. And last May, President Marcos Jr. participated in the IISS Shangri-La Dialogue and attended the Milken Institute Asia Summit on September 13 to 17, 2023. He also made a state visit to Singapore on September 6 to 7 in 2022. And there are estimated 200,000 Filipinos living and working in Singapore. And the Philippines and Singapore established its diplomatic relations on May 16, 1969. And also, the chief executive cited various memoranda of understanding or MOUs that signifies the mutual confidence between the two countries in expanding and deepening collaboration in the areas of health and the environment. And at the state banquet attended by Singapore President Shanmugaratnam, President Marcos Jr. particularly highlighted the recruitment of Filipino healthcare workers in Singapore and the cooperation on carbon credits as evidence of the two countries' trust in each other and their commitment to protecting the planet. The chief executive witnessed the exchange of MOUs in the recruitment of Filipino healthcare workers by Singapore, as well as the MOU for collaboration on carbon credits under Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. These MOUs, Marcos said, are a testament to the confidence that the two countries place in one another and the strong desire to protect the planet. President Marcos referred to the Singapore president's visit as a rekindling of personal ties and proof of the strong bond between Filipinos and Singaporeans. The president also considered the visit very timely as the two countries celebrate the 55th anniversary of their diplomatic relations, and he pointed to people ties as the heart of the relations between the two countries. The chief executive recognized the contribution of 250,000 Filipinos who call Singapore their home to the growth of both the Philippine and Singaporean economies and societies. And Front and Center will be right back after Pinoy Kultura.
Time to celebrate kulturang Pinoy. Tradisyon, musika, sining, literatura at iba pa. Anything and everything fun and Filipino. Ito ang Pinoy Kultura.
How could you ever forget the magical feeling that courtship or panliligaw brings in your younger years?
High school life, for my high school life, every memory kay ganda.
Nandyan yung itutulak ka ng tropa whenever your crush passes by.
Ang saya ng high school, 7 years in my school, di na mapapantayan.
Then you start sending her love letters and flowers at paminsay maglalakas loob ka to ask if you could walk her home.
A moment for you.
And it doesn't end there. May sayawan o disco pag birthday ng barkada and you get to see her there too.
Till I met you.
Kikiligin ka pag sulyap ni crush. Yayain mong sumayaw pag tugtog ng pinakahihintay na love song. And that evening seems so perfect na parang kayo lang ang tao sa dance floor.
I love you more each day.
Oh, the beauty of courtship in Pinas.
Yan ang Pinoy Kultura because our culture is cool.
Serving the Republic of the Philippines for more than 75 years. Ito po ang Presidential Broadcast Service.
And welcome back to Front and Center with your host, Jerome Toledo. And in relation to visit of Singaporean president, the Singaporean leader praised the Philippines, especially the two-time Olympic gold medalist Carlos Yulo, who brought pride not only to the country but also to Southeast Asia for winning 2 gold medals. And Singaporean President Shanmugaratnam said that he was very impressed about the performance of Filipino athletes at the Olympic Games in Paris, France, calling it a real milestone. Yulo bagged gold medals in the men's floor exercise and men's vault finals of the 2024 Paris Summer Olympics. The Singapore president made the remarks during his bilateral meeting with President Marcos Jr. in Malacanang as part of his of his first state visit to the Philippines along with Mrs. Jane Itogi Shanmugaratnam. For his part, President Marcos thanked the Singapore leader for his kind words toward the Philippines and Filipino athletes. He also shared the same sentiments that the government is just a reflected glory of the athletes' stellar performance during the Olympics. The president also shared how the Filipino warmly welcomed the athletes when they were paraded in Manila shortly after their heroes' welcome in Tuesday. President Marcos said the stellar performance of the athletes gave a boost to Filipinos. Meanwhile, in other stories, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is supporting the Bayani ng Pilipinas campaign, which champions farmers as heroes of the country. In a meeting with the Private Sector Advisory Council or PSAC, President Marcos emphasized the farmers' sacrifice to provide food for Filipinos and sustain its supply. The Bayani ng Pilipinas campaign is an initiative pushed by PSAC to advocate farming as a good way of life and encourage the younger generation to pursue farming as a profession. And it is also one way to celebrate Filipino farmers and inspire them to continue and progress. In the development of campaign materials and rollout strategy for the initiative, President Marcos said they will try to start formulating ideas to better promote the project. And the president is prioritizing the agriculture sector to uplift farmers and fisher folks and promote food security in the country. From May 9th to June 5th, 2024, the government has distributed 906 million Philippine peso in assistance to more than 90,000 beneficiaries in 7 regions across the country through the Presidential Assistance to Farmers, Fisher Folk, and their families. Several irrigation projects have also been completed and rehabilitated under the administration of President Marcos to support the Philippine agriculture. And additionally, a total of 2.16 million hectares of service area, or 68.88% of the country's estimated 3.13 million hectares of total irrigable area were developed as of December 2023. And meanwhile, the Philippine Statistics Authority said 11 out of 18 regions in the country recorded a significant decrease in poverty incidence in 2023. In a briefing, National Statistician and Undersecretary Claire Dennis Mapa said the 2023 full-year official poverty statistics based on the preliminary results of the Family Income and Expenditure Survey showed that a family with 5 members needed at least 13,873 Philippine pesos per month to meet their minimum basic food and non-food needs last year. This was up from 11,998 Philippine pesos poverty threshold in 2021. Among the regions, Caraga region Region 11 showed the most notable improvement with a poverty incidence among families of 14.9% in 2023, a decrease of 11% or 11 percentage points from its poverty incidence of 25.9% in 2021. Other regions include Region 7, Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, or BARMM, Region 2, Region 12, Region 1, Region 3, Cordillera Administrative Region, Region 4, Region 8, and Region 4A. The National Capital Region, meanwhile, remained the least poor among the regions with a poverty incidence among families estimated at 1.1% in 2023. In an earlier report, the PSA disclosed that the country's poverty rate declined to 14.5% in 2023 from 18.1% in 2021. That is equivalent to 17.54 million Filipinos whose income is not sufficient to meet their basic food and non-food needs, down from the 19.99 million poor Filipinos recorded in 2021. At the national level, poverty incidence among families also fell to 10.9% or equivalent to 3 million poor families from 3.5 million families as of end of 2021. MAPA said the decline in the number of poor families in 2023 could be attributed to the increase in wages during the period. And a separate report released by the PSA on Thursday showed that in 2023, the average annual income of Filipino families was at 353,230 Philippine pesos, up by 15% from the 307,190 Philippine pesos average income in 2021. MAPA, meanwhile, said the PSA also conducted a different simulation where the poverty threshold was adjusted by 10%. He said that with the adjustment, the poverty incidence among families will be at 14.7% in 2023 from 17.2% in 2021. MAPA also revealed that the government is planning to revisit the food menu in 2025. PSA data showed that the average food threshold for a family of 5 was at 9,581 Philippine pesos in 2021. In the current National Food Bundle, the sample breakfast consists of scrambled egg, boiled rice or rice corn mix, and coffee with milk. For lunch, the sample menu includes boiled mongo with malunggay and dried dilis, bananas, and boiled rice or corn mix. The sample menu for dinner consists of boiled rice or rice corn mix, fried fish or boiled pork, and vegetable dish. Snacks, meanwhile, include bread or boiled root crop. And MAPA said scientists and nutritionists from Food and Nutrition Research Institute are currently preparing the proposed sample food bundle. He said the PSA is also looking at the ratio of food expenditure and non-food expenditure. And that concludes this edition of Front and Center here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Together with our producer Erwin Peñano and our technical personnel Milo Janela, this is your host Jerome Toledo saying mabuhay and love the Philippines.
You have just heard and watched Front and Center. Front and Center. Join us again for another edition here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Front and Center.